Yo, Pokemon Unite is looking spicy because it seems like the beta is going to test a draft mode once again. Now, this happened with the Chinese beta back in version 1.4 and version 1.5, but it seems like the devs are getting desperate to save this dead game, and that is bringing a draft mode. So we got some extra details, we got some things to break down, and I do want to give my thoughts on it. So if you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below. So yeah, talking about version 1.4, version 1.5, that was March, April. The details are kind of fuzzy because it was a Chinese beta, but kind of like gives you an idea of what was going on at the time. And we are currently in version 1.7. Also, like, new map, new seasons, anniversary. Crazy stuff has happened since then, which is also why my thoughts about a draft mode have changed. But let's get into the details. So yeah, don't remember the version. Draft mode would be available once you reach Master Rank. Weird, but as we go down, take this with a grain of salt. Since the info is from March and April, people are like, oh, it should be all ranks, and then yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Things might have changed a lot. So this could be a rough idea of the draft mode that's going to be implemented, or maybe it just doesn't get implemented and just gets tested again. So I'll give my thoughts on that after we get into the rest of the details. Each team will vote for one Pokemon to disable it on the match, and then it's draft mode. If this doesn't change, you'll be able to ask your teammates to pick a Pokemon for you. No mirror teams. This means if the enemy has Pikachu, your team cannot pick Pikachu. And then take it with a grain of salt. So yeah, full-on draft mode. Each team gets one ban, which makes sense because the roster is fairly small. But I think it's large and diverse enough to actually survive a draft mode. Now, when Pokemon Unite first came out, I did not want this. I've seen it ruin too many games. I've also seen, like, just games get worse and worse over time. My first thought being Overwatch. I miss Season 1 Overwatch, where you could just run as many of a character as you wanted. They got rid of that, and then they also started enforcing a role system to where you mandatory had to have a certain amount of set roles on the team because they couldn't balance their game. Instead of balancing the game, they just introduced a queue that completely killed the game. With Pokemon Unite, I just want to stay fresh. Like, if you're good on a pick, you just run it with it. If that's like a meta Pokemon, just be better than your opponent, win the game, mirror matches, everything's gonna be wacky and cool, even if the roster goes to infinity and beyond. The problem is, Pokemon Unite has only gotten less and less balanced, and honestly, the introduction of Hoopa makes me want bans. I didn't want bans, I didn't want any kind of rank system, like, modification and adjustment like that, but like, you know what, to make 5s playable, Hoopa needs to be a permaban, and if the enemies just kind of ban away any other Pokemon, fine, maybe it makes the system more balanced. Now, when it comes to a draft mode, being able to pick away other picks, I'm hesitantly, like, down with that, but again, like, I don't care about Pokemon Unite because they refuse to split the queues. Why are they testing a draft mode when they just can't separate from 5-stack ladder from solo duo queue ladder? Not even trio. Trio's too messy when it comes to a game like Pokemon Unite. Make it solo duo, make it 5 stacks, split the rankings, done. Now I'll actually have incentive to play the game, and you'll also save the game as well. But instead, we're getting like a draft mode in a new map that's catering to 5s, so I don't know. But at least 5s and the game gets a bit more playable on that level, but it still kind of kills the game. And here's my other problem with this. It makes the queues too long. My other favorite thing about Pokemon Unite is that you just next. You lose the game, it was only 10 minutes. You're losing the game early on, maybe you flip it at Rayquaza. If you don't, UFF, it was only 9 minutes. Straight into the next queue, you lock in your Pokemon, you're instantly in the next game. Going next was so nice and clean. But on a mobile game, doing a draft mode with the belligerent players and just toxic trash bags of the Pokemon Unite community, that sounds disastrous. Also, like, meta picks, I don't think there's ever going to be a time in, like, uncoordinated ladder play where you're going to get someone to pick a Pokemon for you. And then also, like, how's that work on trading? It's not like League of Legends where most people have access to most of the Pokemon. So, like, that coordination also just gets rough. Someone says, hey, pick me Cinderace. Cinderace gets picked away, and then they just tilt and troll off the face of the earth. So I'd see as being very unhealthy to just random games and stuff. And also going back to the whole master thing, that just seems like a really weird thing. It seems like the devs just have no idea what to do for their game, so they just make it more and more casual with like the game modes and just having no care for competitive whatsoever, and then that harms any like integrity in the game and any desire to want to improve in the game, and then everyone sucks, and then there's no reward, so there's no reason to play Pokemon Unite, which is a big issue that I have with like the current state of how ranked is being handled. The balance has gotten better. Like the balance went from most balanced at launch somehow, and then has only got worse for a long time, but then started coming back a little bit. And I think it was actually like the game was getting pretty balanced, and then they nerfed Buddy Barrier and Score Shield and Lucario and all those other things, and the game got really balanced. So play-wise, Pokemon-wise, the game feels pretty solid. Map-wise, trash. Just kind of throwing the whole system away. Update-wise, not giving us any new items. The emblems are really cool. Not adjusting items enough. Not making enough like changes in certain Pokemon. Not making the game feel alive and spicy enough. And the weird thing is like just listening to bad players. Mr. Mime was always S tier. They buffed it, and then they had to hotfix it, which is the only time it's happened since like Sylveon, and then when Lucario Power Punch was bugged to an egregious degree. Launch Gengar was very, very problematic, but I mean, still, Season 1 was the most balanced Pokemon Unite has been, and that's sad to think about. So they missed the mark on Mr. Mime incredibly, and now pick ban, and they don't nerf Hoopa enough, and like the game is just getting more and more awkward. And I think that a pick ban mode does save that, but I don't want that to be the reality. I don't want that to be the case for Pokemon Unite. And in a weird way, I also think it saves trash players from themselves, because anyone that's watching other influencers or any other content creator, like they're just getting bad game advice and bad meme movesets and bad tier list information, and then they apply that into their games and they end up trolling and griefing it for everyone else. So if like there's a super meta pick that gets banned away, I think that's just better than them trolling and inting on that character. Same thing on like pick ban, where yeah, if one of their characters gets picked away, or if they can ban something that counters them, then at least salvage some of the possibility on the players. And really good players like me will just succeed in the new system. I am a god on Cramorant, Garchomp, Mamoswine, Mr. Mime. Like, I'm the best player in the world on 4 characters. You can ban one, you can pick away another one, and I will still be able to carry and have a massive influence on the game. So I think the pick ban system would actually benefit someone like me, but I don't like it when a game has to get to that state where it's like, oh, now it's necessary to have a system like this. Also, I think taking away freedom is never fun. It was really cool to see Korean blind pick 5th game finals hype, where you can just, like, if it came down to that, it's like you weren't losing your best character. Everyone is playing at their peak with the most busted stuff, even mirror match 2 shins. Good luck, have fun. May the better characters win, instead of like RNG blind picking in both 5-stack and solo. But if it does mean getting rid of like the things that are just game-breakingly problematic, or making it to where like now 2 giga meta Absol trolls aren't going to be just inting it into each other, and then people are actually going to have to like play around it and stuff, like, oh, you pick away the Blissey, now the response compositions get really interesting on like Eldegoss, Mr. Mime getting more viability, and then just kind of like team comping it out. Also, draft mode does enable counter picks instead of just going straight blind and then realizing like, wow, they got 3 enemy Pokemon that just slaughter my pick. That's not good. So I do like the, like, from a competitive standpoint and from a strategy standpoint, it is compelling, but the players in the game suck, and the strategy doesn't really do anything, and then because they're not expanding how the ladder works, the game seems kind of worthless. So those are my thoughts. I went from 100% against it to, and it's kind of a necessary evil, but that's like a bad sign for the game. And it actually wouldn't harm me at all, so I don't know. I don't know what happens. If they split the queues and introduce a draft mode, that might get me playing a bit more, but it's more on splitting the queues. But I don't think it's going to save the game. Pokemon Unite's dead. The devs have no idea how, like, the Pokemon Company has no idea how to promote this game properly, because, like, League of Legends, you need to be targeting that. But, like, League of Legends, MOBA players don't know that there's a Pokemon MOBA out there, which is literally what everyone wanted in, like, 2013, when League of Legends started popping off. 2012 even, where it's like, yo, this with Pokemon would be like the sickest, greatest thing ever. And now we're not even trying to capture that, and now we're just letting like influencers ruin the game, and all the like players just stay terrible and ruin the game, and then everything gets too casual. So weird thoughts, weird idea that this is happening. But yeah, that's just the progressively worsening state of Pokemon Unite. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.